Hi people, my name's Anthony Rosbottom, and today I thought I'd go through the process I took of taking a ball and turning it into an angry mutant bumblebee. Okay, why did I choose this subject matter? Well, more or less 6 years ago, at the time of recording this, I started my Instagram account, and that's been going well. I've been sort of sketching away. It's been a bit heavy on the sketching, very light on the 3D art, personal 3D art. So in 2020, at the start of the year before the virus hit, I had a plan of I'm going to go back to the start of my Instagram account and sort of have a go at remixing all the sketches I see at the start of my Instagram account. I'm going to translate them into 3D in some way, not accurately, not one to one, but use the sketches as a jumping off point for a 3D art piece. So this is the first sketch I put on Instagram. As you can see, it contains a bee, not a bumblebee, but an ordinary mutant bee. If you can have ordinary and mutant, there you go. And yeah, I was gonna turn this into one of those sort of trendy looping 15-second looping Instagram animations, but once I finished the character, the angry mutant bumblebee, I've decided to turn it into more of a traditional 2 or 3 minute short film. So yeah, that's the reason why out of the blue, I chose to make a heavily caricatured bumblebee. Okay, so here we have the first scene that I saved out. Unfortunately, I jumped from the ball to finished sculpt of the body without saving. Next time I do a project, I will definitely save versions so progress can be seen. So Blender Sculpt mode, I've only messed around with it before. I have not really used it in any serious manner. So I didn't use any masking. There's no fancy tools really, just clay strips and some creasing. It's a very rough sculpt by professional standards, but I was going for that lowbrow sort of homemade, molded with plasticine look anyway. So it's a good excuse to not spend a lot of time with the smoothness of the sculpt. And I knew a lot of it would be covered up by hair anyway. And also the bits that weren't covered up by fur or hair would be retopoed. So once I had the body sculpted and I knew where the legs would come out of, I went ahead with legs. The legs are just started off with a ball, UV sphere, and modelled the old-fashioned way, pulling edges out, moving verts about, extruding. Yeah, I think I did this one, and then yeah, copied and paste. And this one is the sort of foot, so to speak, a bit more elaborate, but not by much. Just extruding some faces, pulling more verts out, adding edge loops. All pretty basic stuff. And it's been modelled, yeah, more or less been modelled sort of so I can align it in its final position later. But yeah, we'll get to that when we load up the other Blender files. Also in this file is the start of retopologizing. So yeah, mirror modifier, snapping to face. Yeah, I didn't use any of the additional retopoing tools. I just used Blender's native tools. So stuff like just extruding a line of points, manipulating them on the surface. So you get this sort of scaffolding. Probably looks laborious, but I get quite quick once I know what I'm doing. I should use the F2 add-on that comes with Blender, just so you can hit F and quickly make polys. You know, you can get reasonably quick. Yeah, that sort of thing. And then grid fill, if you can work out the right number of points on each border edge. So yeah, I say just put a good audio book on your headphones and extrude verts and carry on. This is file number 6, just showing some more progress. Yeah, it's just a lot of extruding verts and creating faces. Really isn't not much more than that. Okay, this is my 9th file on my hard drive. The body is complete. The retopoing is complete, I mean. Is it the best retopologizing in the world? No, but it does the job. All the little inaccuracies like this sort of area, I don't mind, because as I said before, it's going to be covered with fur, and if not, I don't mind if it looks homemade out of clay or plasticine. Okay, in this file I've brought the legs back in, duplicated them and arranged them where I want them to be, and attached them to the same mesh, so that when it's rigged up it's just the one mesh, which I think will be easier. Then again, I haven't done a lot of rigging or character creation in general, so we'll see. But I think this makes more sense, having the legs as part of the same mesh as the rest of the body. Okay, then it's on to the wings. That's what I started doing after that. You can see my progress here. They were started by, yes, like UV sphere, very low res, and then just pulling verts out, pulling verts and edges out, and going from there. Very old school, but it's what I know. Now, how did I model this in a flat plane? I went to my front view in orthographic and I counted out, pressed the number 8 key on my keypad 1, 2, 3, 4 times, I believe. Yeah, so I basically modelled everything on this plane. Yes, as you see here, using the view transform, so that I could model it vaguely in situation, or the position it's going to be in the final character. Okay, here's the body all finished except for the eyes. The eyes at this point are still separate objects, but they will be folded in. You can see I've got a tongue, just a simple blob in there that's been sort of modelled. The teeth is very, very simple. They're faces that have been extruded down. Okay, and now I'm in edit mode. You can see the UVing has been done as well. So yeah, UV'd by hand, just the standard way, marking the edges as seams, and UV unwrapping. You can also see here I've started the materials at this point. This is material preview. The tongue is it stayed a procedural material all the way through. If I had time, I would revisit that. But the procedural material did its job up to now. Maybe one day in the future I'll turn that into a PBR texture set. But yeah, it's procedural for now. Okay, on to the texturing really. Texture maps are very simple, just done in Blender's texture painting mode. Kept everything in Blender. Let's see. Here we can see the texture for the skin. All very basic, simple stuff. Simple materials for the most part. Yeah, this character, it doesn't require very complicated materials. Just show you the eye of the bee. That was quite a happy little accident. What I sometimes like to do, or have to do, to get physically inaccurate results is overdrive the values in the PBR shader past 1, and that's how... Obviously not going to save that. No, interesting effect. Okay, yeah. So to get the extreme pink colour on the edge of the eye material, I had the value in the colour as 2. When to keep things physical, that should never go above 1. But overdriving it to 2 gives me an unrealistic but artistically pleasing to me effect. Anyway. Okay, it was also at this point that I started the hair, like the sculpting. This is the first time I'd played with hair with any seriousness. And initially trying to use the hair without any looking at any documentation or watching any tutorials was a bit of a waste of time, because I didn't know what I was doing with the settings. I ended up with weird, jaggy, sharp sort of hair, not the effect I was after. But I did watch a couple of tutorials and things improved after this. Okay, so here's the final file I used for the final render. You can see I've got the hair to where I want it to be, the fur. That took quite a lot of experimentation with the settings, as I said before, because I never used the particle hair properly. I've also added a temporary sort of floor, just with some PBR textures from cc0textures.com, just to give the character something to stand on. The background HDRI is the one that ships with Blender. When you go to the shading tab, it's that one. Just because this is just a demonstration scene, I wasn't too concerned about the background, especially since it was going to be blurred out by the depth of field, shallow depth of field. And the main thing to give the background some interest was the use of Graswald add-on, which is really, really good. And I intend to do a video review of this add-on, but as a quick preview, I'm very, very happy with it. Saves a lot of time. So yeah, let me show you around the scene. I've just put the dandelions and the moss just where the camera shows at the moment. If I just select the floor object and go to turned off selection for my floor object. You can see the floor object is just the top of a cylinder basically. Started off as a big cylinder, deleted everything underneath. Now here got into a bit of a mess, because to distribute particles, or to control the distribution of the particles for the moss particles and the dandelions, you need to use a weight map, vertex map, sorry, and that needs vertices in the right place. So yeah, it's very scrappy and messy, but there's a lot of starting with this face and selecting verts, hitting the J key to join, and crisscrossing, moving them around. Well, actually, I couldn't grab them because I'd already texture mapped the floor. So what I had to do was edge slide, double tapping G key to slide, which slides the UVs, the corresponding UVs at the same time, which is really, really handy for when you've already UV'd something and you're like, oh, I need to move some points around, but I don't want to distort my UVs that I've already mapped. Yeah, edge slide will preserve the UVs, or rather it'll adjust the UVs at the same time as it adjusts the position of the points. Which shader? Yeah, so there's the weight painting mode. Yeah, for this, actually let me select it, the moss particle system. So yeah, Graswald doesn't seem to do anything that you can't do natively, but it just saves you a lot of time with all this setup, and well, and obviously saves you time modelling the plants and the moss, the bits of moss to start with. Have I gone past it? I'm just looking for the. That's it. Yeah. Here you import a weight map for the density. I just made one weight map, moss particle density, and use that for the size and the density. Which, like in nature, a lot of time, if not many of one certain plant is growing in an area, it's usually smaller. So there's that, and then I wanted to do a 360-degree turntable, but for that I needed to obviously add some moss and stuff behind the camera because the camera's going to be moving. So let's load that scene up. Okay, here's my scene where I do a 360-degree turntable. As I mentioned before, I had to add extra Graswald plants and more moss, so there's some interest for the camera to look at. And then yeah, I came across the problem of there's quite a shallow depth of field, which I wanted to keep. So let's stop that. What I did was got my camera, and I've got a depth of field target, which I've spelt wrong. As the camera rotates around the bee, I've just simply animated the y-axis of the depth of field target object so that it more or less hugs the equator of the bee. You see it sort of goes in and out there. It's not really noticeable in the animation, but I think you'd notice more that the bee was going in and out of focus. So yeah, and that was that. Oh, except I'm recording this on my MacBook Pro, which is a good machine for modeling. It's not the best machine for rendering because it doesn't have an NVIDIA GPU. So rendering with cycles on the GPU is out of the question. So to get all 360 frames of this rendered, I rendered on I've got a PC as well that has a CPU, some decently fast i7 CPU, and it also has a NVIDIA 1050 Ti GTX graphics card. So a little trick I learned of someone off YouTube that unfortunately I've forgotten who it was, apologies for that. I had two instances of Blender open on the PC. One set to render with the CPU, so that was rendering, I don't know, about 12 buckets at a time. And another instance of Blender, same scene but modified, switch from CPU to GPU rendering. Yeah, and that rendered on the GTX 1050 Ti, and both devices were rendering about 6 minutes a frame. The MacBook Pro was doing about 6.5 minutes a frame. So yeah, so I set the MacBook Pro with 120 frames and the CPU instance of Blender 120 frames and the GPU instance of Blender 120 frames. So I virtually had like two machines for the price of one on the PC. So yeah, it's something to consider if you've got a decent graphic card and you're thinking, and you've got, coupled with a processor that sort of renders at a similar speed, something worth looking into. All right, thanks for watching this. I just wanted to sort of give you a little bit of insight. If I've missed anything out, or if you've got any questions, comment below and I'll answer as best I can. But yeah, thanks for watching, and like, subscribe and do all that good stuff, and I will catch you all later. Thanks a lot. Bye.